Hello, everybody. Many of you have come to me asking me how they can succeed at Paper One because they have doubts. They struggle to find what it is that they can analyze. And one of the most, the simplest ways and the most powerful ways to start your analysis is by looking at the title or a headline. The title or a headline is actually universal, quite universal. Almost every text has a title or a headline. When you're looking at a charity appeal or whether you're looking at a travel brochure, the title often gives you a glimpse or foreshadows what the text is about. It often holds the key to understanding the purpose, the message, and the target audience. And so, when you're under pressure in the examination, the title is a smart place to start. In short, it is rich, it is short, and it sets the tone for everything else. So practice this technique. If you're stuck, even if you're not stuck, start by analyzing the title, and you'll have a strong, fast paragraph every time. The title guides you to the text's purpose, message, and target audience. When you get a text, look at the title, and there's some questions you can ask yourself. How does it look? What words are used? What emotions does it stir in me? And what kind of person, who is the target audience? What kind of person is it trying to speak to? And what does it want the target audience to do? So titles are not just labels, they are quite deliberate. They are invitations, hooks, and emotional triggers. And so, when you get a text, look at the title and analyze its design and placement. Is it placed in the top, at the top? Is it centered? Is it bold? Check the typography. Is it stylized, or is it shouting capitals, or is it quiet, or elegant, or calligraphy, or playful? And then also consider color. Certain colors are used to grab attention. For example, colors such as red suggest urgency, or black and white create contrast and suggest seriousness. So consider the placement, the typography, and color. Once you have considered this, then you've got to move on to the language itself. What words have been chosen by the writer to hook their audience, to foreshadow the content, or even introduce their perspective on the subject matter that they are talking about? You've got to engage with the language of the title. What words has the writer chosen? Ask yourself whether these words are emotional, are they casual, are they formal, or are they commanding? Or maybe they're directive. And then something else you've got to think about is, who is the target audience? From the title, can you guess who is being targeted? And does the title expect the audience to do something? What response does the writer want from the audience? What response do they try to provoke in the audience? So from the title, apart from looking at the placement, the typography, the color, you will now have to unpack the language, the word choices that have been used to discuss what the subject of the text is, what the purpose of the text is, what is intended of the target audience, and who the target audience is. And most importantly, don't say what the title is, say why that title matters. That's where the marks are. With this in mind, then you must annotate the title. So we'll dive into some text to see how you can engage with the title. It is important to explain the title and its effect. Actually, if you do that, you'll be able to address criterion A, B, and C. For example, if you talk about the title and what it means, commenting on this title shows that you understand what the text is and why it has been crafted that way. And then when you zoom in on the choices, be it the visual choices or the language choices, then you'll be addressing criterion B, you'll be analyzing. And then if you structure your essay such that you open it with a discussion of the title, and then you come back to the title at the end of your essay, it will strengthen the cohesion of your analysis of your essay, and this is criterion C. And now, let us look at the text and see how this can be done. This text is an appeal by RSPCA, and it is titled Saving Roxy. Now, if you look at this title, Saving Roxy, one thing you'll notice is the font, like we'd said, the placement, okay, the typography, the colors used. And then you also notice that under it is what you might call a subtitle with a different font. And next, we have got that urgent sign in a different color. So when you look at the title Saving Roxy, just by looking at the verb saving and Roxy, which is the name of the dog or puppy, it suggests urgency, that Roxy is in danger and needs to be saved. And so this places the reader in a position to feel that they can be the hero and save Roxy. So we already see what the purpose of the text is just from the title, that it is to urge the reader to save Roxy. And being that it is from the RSPCA and you read the text, you can actually read around the text and see who are the RSPCA and what is the purpose by looking at the bottom of the text. Now, something else before we go into the analysis that you can notice is the name Roxy. Now, this name Roxy gives credibility to this campaign. It is not just saving any random animal. There is actually an animal, a dog that exists with a name named Roxy. And so this gives credibility to the RSPCA that they are actually going to save an animal, Roxy. Then underneath that heading, which is in a very, black font, a very formal typography, you can see that this suggests some seriousness, especially being that it is written on a doctor's clipboard. Then critically injured with nowhere else to go looks like it is something that has been scribed or penned by a doctor. The handwriting of the doctor is a testament, is evidence that the dog Roxy has been examined, and the findings, the doctor has determined that Roxy is critically injured with nowhere else to go. Now, that is something that also appeals to ethos, because it is the doctor's handwriting that is justifying that this dog is injured. That is just by looking at the subtitle. Then, like I had suggested earlier, is that you need to zoom in on the words. So, critically injured, what is suggested with the phrase critically injured with nowhere else to go. These are very emotionally charged phrases, and there is the connotation of desperation and helplessness. In fact, the adverb critically next to the verb injured suggests that Roxy is in a dire state and needs urgent help. And with nowhere else to go appeals to the heartstrings of the reader, because it suggests desperation, abandonment, and therefore it is the reader then who can rescue Roxy and get Roxy medical attention and even get Roxy a shelter. So the RSPCA then is appealing to the reader, persuading them to donate so that animals that are injured can get treatment, and those that have got nowhere else to go can also get shelter. Now, something else that you cannot ignore is the placement of urgent in that red font, like a stamp, in the top right corner of the first half of this doctor's clipboard. So, color is very significant here. The color red with the word urgent suggests urgency or danger. So, coupled together with the heading, the title, Saving Roxy and Critically Injured, that urgent is sort of an authentication that Roxy needs help. It is emotionally charged and provokes the reader to save Roxy, putting the reader sort of in the position of a hero to come to the aid of Roxy. Therefore, that's just on the title. And so this is something that you can do when you get a text. Analyze the title, break down the words, and you can write a paragraph. Of course, don't just read the title on its own. You will have to read the text to understand what the message is, and then discuss the placement of the title and its purpose, what is intended of the target audience, and the intended effect. And therefore, it is important to unpack the title. Here is a paragraph just on the title. Take a moment to read it and see how it is cohesive, how it engages with the font, the color, the placement, and not to forget the purpose, the message, and the effect on the reader. So you can just pause the video and read these 2 paragraphs on the title. In the next video, we shall be talking about how you can analyze any visuals that are in a text and discuss the interplay between the visual and the language, especially the title. Bye-bye.